All right, let's dive in. In this explainer, we are pulling back the curtain on all those hidden forces that shape our days at work, from the little biases in our own heads to the unwritten rules of our teams, all the way up to that corner office. You ever get that feeling? You know, like you were out sick the one day they handed out the secret manual for how to deal with everything? The personalities, the politics, the promotions. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. So in the next few minutes, we're basically giving you the cheat codes. We're going to break down what's really going on behind the scenes at work. And by the end, you'll have a much better guide for navigating your own career. First things first, we got to look inward. You see, the real key to unlocking the workplace, well, it starts with understanding the hidden programming that's running in our own heads. Think about this for a second. When a coworker misses a deadline, it's so easy to think, they're just so disorganized. But when we miss one, my plate was just overflowing, I had too much to do. This isn't just some random quirk of ours. It's actually a core idea in psychology that explains how we make sense of everything. What you're seeing is something called attribution theory. We are constantly, and I mean constantly, trying to figure out why things happen. We blame it on one of two things, either internal stuff like someone's personality, or external stuff like just bad luck. The big problem is our built-in biases mean we often get it completely wrong. And sometimes, getting it wrong can have some really serious consequences. Just listen to this. This is what a flight attendant said to Dr. Tamika Cross, a black female physician, when she tried to help a passenger who was in medical distress. So the flight attendant's perception, that quick internal judgment, was that Dr. Cross just didn't look like a doctor. Even when Dr. Cross said she was a physician, the crew kept on looking. And then, just a few moments later, they accepted help from a white man who came forward. This story is just such a powerful reminder of a huge point. Our unconscious biases, our snap judgments, they're not just thoughts floating around in our heads. No, they shape our actions, they shape our decisions, and they absolutely shape the opportunities we give other people. They literally build the reality of our work environment. Now let's look at another one of these psychological forces. When our brains tell us again and again that our effort just doesn't make a difference, we can slip into what's called learned helplessness. I mean, it's just so simple, right? The cause and effect here is crystal clear. If every time you do something amazing, your boss takes the credit, and every time something goes wrong, you get all the blame, well, your brain learns a very simple lesson: why even bother trying? It's a really good question to ask yourself. Has a situation at work ever made you feel like anything you did was just pointless? Just being able to recognize that feeling is the very first step to breaking out of it. Okay, so let's zoom out from our own heads and look at the group. Because once you put a bunch of people together in a room, a whole new set of invisible forces starts to pull the strings. We are social creatures, pure and simple. And that desire to be accepted is one of the most powerful things that drives us. It's this deep need that leads to conformity, that pressure we all feel to kind of tweak our own behavior just to fit in with the group, even when deep down, we don't really agree. Get this is wild. In a famous experiment, they put people in a pitch black room and showed them a single dot of light. Because of an optical illusion, it looks like it's moving. Now, when people were alone, their guesses about how much it moved were all over the place. But the second you put them in a group, their answers started to merge into one single, shared, and completely made-up reality. That right there is the insane power of conformity. So, how do you get all the good stuff from teamwork without everybody just nodding along? Well, the research points to these key ingredients. And the really important thing to see here is that stuff like valuing diversity and managed conflict, those are direct weapons against groupthink. They make people feel safe enough to actually speak up without being afraid they'll get shot down for disagreeing. Okay, let's move up the org chart. A huge part of our experience at work is shaped by the person in charge, so understanding their particular style is absolutely critical. So generally speaking, you can sort leadership into two main buckets. You've got your transactional leaders who are all about the exchange. You do your job, you get paid. It's about keeping the trains running on time. Then you have transformational leaders. They're focused on changing the whole system. They get people fired up with a big vision for the future. And hey, neither one is automatically better. The trick is knowing which kind of leader you're working with. So what's the secret weapon that the most effective leaders have, no matter which style they use? It almost always comes down to emotional intelligence, or EI. This is the ability to really understand and manage your own emotions, and to pick up on and influence the emotions of other people. It's basically a toolkit for dealing with the messy human side of work, and it's built on things like self-awareness, empathy, and social skills.
And dealing with that human side means you're going to run into two of the biggest forces in any company. So for our final piece, let's zoom all the way out to the entire system and talk about conflict and change.
When conflict pops up, our reactions usually fall on two scales. How assertive are you about getting what you want, and how cooperative are you in helping the other person get what they want? So on one end, you have competing, super assertive, not at all cooperative. It's that win-lose, my way or the highway approach. Then you've got avoiding, which is neither assertive nor cooperative. You just pretend the conflict doesn't exist. And of course, that means nobody wins. Now, the more effective styles, they involve cooperation. Accommodating is when you put the other person's needs totally before your own. That's a lose-win. But the gold standard, the one we should all be aiming for, is collaborating. It's both assertive and cooperative. It's all about finding a true win-win that actually works for everyone involved. Yeah, it takes more effort, but it builds way stronger relationships and gets the best result. So, we have talked about our brains, our teams, our leaders, and even conflict. How do we wrap all this up into something you can actually use?
Here they are, your workplace cheat codes. Step 1. Before you jump to conclusions, check your own assumptions. Step 2. Keep an eye out for that pressure to conform and push for what makes a real teamwork. Step 3. Figure out your manager's style so you can understand what really drives them. And finally, when a conflict comes up, don't just react. Make a conscious choice about how you're going to handle it.
Because here's the most important part of all of this. Once you can actually see these invisible forces, you are no longer just a pawn in the game. You become a player. A player who can actually change the rules for yourself and for the people around you. So the only real question is, where are you going to start?